Hey guys, welcome back. I've just spent the last few days up in Bright where we've done the pumpkin farm, wine tasting, cheese tasting, all of that. So I wanted to bring those flavours back and pretty much make a dish. So I've got some pine mushrooms that I foraged myself, got some ricotta, some local cheese, and pretty much going to put together a ricotta gnudi for you. So if you're keen, let's go. Okay, so to get this going, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to roast the squash. So all we're going to do is scoop out the middle till it's completely clean. Just scrape that into a bowl, and then I've got some local pumpkin oil, so literally just gonna touch of that, rub it over straight down on the tray, so it's just the flesh, or the outside that's going to protect it, and then that can go into the oven at 180 for 45 minutes. So then when that comes out, just leave it on the side, and then the skin will peel away really easily, so it will be easier to handle. So while the pumpkin's in the oven, we can get on with the rest of it. So I always like to clean these, so what I do is with a spoon or a small knife, can just use the back of a spoon, is I always pull these away. You can leave them if you want to, but I just prefer to get rid of it. And then if you've got any pine needles that are stuck in there, then just brush those away, so you can get it as clean as possible. If you've got a pastry brush, you can use one of those, and then once you've worked all the way around, we just dice them up. Look at these things, aren't they beautiful? So all I'm going to do is cut it in half, and then you can just do random pieces however you want, smaller pieces, bigger pieces. So we're going to be making the gnudi, so I want them a similar size, but also want to show them off in the dish, so I don't want them to be too small, and remember they will shrink slightly as they cook. So just going to run the knife through those. Just going to make a couple of portions, so I've got 2 pine mushrooms here, and then we can fry those off when we're ready to. So grab the grater. We need about 1 cup of grated parmesan. That will do. So just drop that in, get rid of these lumps. One egg. Some salt. And my ricotta. So you can leave this to hang if you want, but we're just gonna crack on with it. And you've got to go in with some black pepper. So once we've got our squash puree, then we can mix that all together, and then we're ready to make the gnudis. Okay, so the pumpkin has been in now for 50 minutes, and we just need to check that it's ready. That's spot on, so we're just going to leave that there on the side for 10 minutes just to cool down, and then it will be easier to handle. So the pumpkin is cool enough to handle, so then just peel away the skin, and then for this recipe I'm just going to use about the same amount of ricotta as pumpkin puree, squash puree. So I'm just going to take off the amount I need, and then if you've got a food processor, just throw it in there. If it's too hot, you could actually mix it in with the ricotta straight away, but don't add the egg, because otherwise the heat will cook the egg. That can go straight into a bowl, we go with about that much, and then literally just gonna mash it up. So make sure there's no skin in there, so any pieces of skin, just get rid of those. You can use that for something else, or just keep it as a puree, and then you can stick that in the freezer, and then next time when you come to make your Gnudis, it's obviously going to be a lot quicker, so as you won't have to wait for the puree to be made. So just make sure that's super smooth and cool, and then we can mix it into the ricotta mix. Once your puree is almost cold, you can go in with the rest of the mix. So just scrape out the bowl, mix that up, see what the consistency is like, and then we can just add some flour until we get the rolling consistency that we're looking for. And once it's mixed, we're just going to add some flour. So it's about 3/4 of a cup to start with, and then we're just going to mix that in. So we can leave that to rest, and then we can fire up the water, and then afterwards we'll be ready to put the dish together. So I'm just going to take half of my mix, and then what I want to do is just roll it out into a long sausage, and then you can cut down the middle and do it again. So fire up the pan, just boiling water with salt in there, and then we can just cut some pieces off. My water is almost boiling, so we can start with the mushrooms. So let's get some heat into the pan. I'm going to go in with olive oil, a couple of cloves of garlic, so then in with the mushrooms, go in with a touch of butter, and a little bit of thyme. So that is literally just to flavour the butter that's going to flavour the mushrooms. So the main herb we're going to use is actually going to be sage. Don't want to cook them too much. I want them to have some bite. So you can see how much they've come down just by the circumference of the pan. So they're almost there. So I'm going to go in with my gnocchi, my Gnudis. So put those to one side for a second. You can Turn down the heat, and then we just wait for these to pop up to the surface. Alright, that's it. We can make some deep fried leaves, just for a bit of garnish. And then we can actually and that'll be a nice sage oil. So these are starting to come to the surface. Go straight into the pan. A little bit of butter that we want to almost burn to give it a nice nutty flavour. And pick some sage, go in with the sage. So this is the golden colour that we're looking for. They're almost there, so the pine mushrooms can go in. And then we're just going to finish it with a little bit of the water that we cooked them in. And then you can turn off the heat now. Plates up. Just disregard the time. I've got some cheese from Milawa here, and that's it. So just going to grate over some of the local cheese. A touch more cracked black pepper. And then can just plate these up. So split it between them. Beautiful pumpkin pillows. You can have that one. So that's it. Dusting of cheese over the top. And then just finish with some of the deep fried sage leaves. So that's it. a really simple pumpkin gnudi that's just using local produce from Bright.